Hello everyone. The next synthesis that we'll be discussing is synthesis of cephalosporin. Synthesis of cephalosporin was given by Woodward et al. In the journal American Chemical Society, volume 88, and in the year 1966 at page number 852. So we will be discussing cephalosporin C synthesis. The starting material is L-cysteine. In step 1, it undergoes a cyclization in the presence of acetic anhydride, which is also responsible for the acetylation in the presence of protonic environment to give me this first compound, which is 2 alpha beta dimethyl 4 beta carboxylate thiazole. That means this is a thiazole derivative which is synthesized. The thiazole derivative is now protected by TBOC, that is tertiary butyloxycarbonyl in the presence of pyridine. NH gets protected by CBOC, and now we can see that this NBOC is a protected thiazole derivative. This is also called as a BOC derivative. In the next step, when diazomethane reacts with this thiazole derivative, it gives me a 4-acetyl carboxyl derivative. Carboxylic group which is present gets converted to its respective ester. Now this product is called as 4-acetyl carboxyl derivative. This is because the numbering would be from sulfur 1, 2, 3, 4. Hence it is 4-acetyl carboxyl derivative. This 4-acetyl carboxyl derivative of thiazole would now react with dimethyl azodicarboxylate, that is in short DMAD at 105 degrees to give me a product which is a salt intermediate. This salt intermediate is again rearranged with a molecular rearrangement. Now this intermediate is called as D-alpha aminoadipic acid. So the ester which we got reacts with DMAD to give me D-alpha aminoadipic acid. The aminoadipic acid now reacts with tetraacetyl lead in the presence of benzene, sodium acetate and methanol to get converted into OH. Now what happens here is, as I already said, that there is a molecular rearrangement which would remove this DMAD component and it will be converted to an OH component. That is, it will be converted to an alcoholic component. In the next step, this alcoholic component would react with isopropylamine in the presence of methane sulfonyl chloride and NaN3, that is sodium azide. OH get converted to N3. In this particular step, isopropylamine in the presence of methane sulfonyl chloride and in the presence of NaN3, that is sodium azide, OH gets converted to N3. This is also called as a 5-azide derivative or a 5-triazide derivative because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A 5-triazide derivative is synthesized. Further, this triazide derivative in the presence of aluminium and mercury and methanol undergoes reduction. N3 will be converted to NH2. N3, that is azide, is reduced to NH2. This conversion would give me a 5 amino derivative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the place of 5 triazide derivative, now I am getting a 5 amino derivative. This 5 amino derivative in the presence of aluminum isobutoxide in the solvent toluene would give me an azobicyclo derivative. Now these all groups, that is an ester group and an NH2 group. Lone pair of electrons on the NH2 will attack onto the ester group to give me a cyclization to give an azobicyclo derivative. This azobicyclo derivative in the presence of 2-acetyl butane 2-enol in octane at 80 degrees in the presence of trichloroethyl 1,3-dialdehyde. That means trichloroethyl 1,3-dialdehyde is going to give me an adduct. Now this adduct is formed very easily because lone pair of electrons on nitrogen would attack onto the carbonyl carbon system and then I will be getting an adduct. So trichloroethyl 1,3-dialdehyde in the presence of E2-acetyl butane 2-enol is going to give me an adduct. This adduct in the presence of trifluoroacetic acid is going to give me a 4-carbonyl oxytrichloroethyl 5-aldehyde 8-keto 7-amino cephalosporic acid. So in the presence of trifluoroacetic acid, the adduct gets converted to the next product which is called as 4-carbonyl oxytrichloro ethyl 5-aldehyde 8-keto 7-amino cephalosporic acid. So this is the intermediate which we are going to get a cephalosporic acid. This happens because the sulfur which is in the 5-membered ring now gets opened up so that it will be converted to a 6-membered ring along with the 4-membered ring. In this system, I will be getting an intermediate which is similar to that of a cephalosporic acid. Now this cephalosporic acid, when it reacts with 2 substituted hexane amide, 2 substituted hexane amide in the presence of DCC, that is dichlorocyclohexyl carbonamide, in the presence of TCE, that is beta 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 trichloromethyl ester in the presence of DCC and pyridine. And pyridine, it will be giving me a trichloro, a tritrichloro ethyl derivative. A tritrichloro ethyl derivative is synthesized. Now, this tritrichloroethyl derivative further reacts with borane in the presence of THF. Now, this borane B2H6 will convert the aldehyde into respective CH2OH. That means it will be converted into a primary alcohol. Further, the primary alcohol reacts with acetic anhydride in the presence of a pyridine. It gets converted to CH2OAC. So this is what we are going to observe in the next product. That is, the borane has converted the aldehyde into CH2OH. Acetic anhydride has converted CH2OH into CH2OAC. Now this product is at C4 and C5, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, C4 and C5, 2 moles of trichloromethyl carboxylate is lost. That means 2 moles of trichloromethyl carboxylates are lost over here. After this compound is allowed to stand for 3 days in pyridine, further isomerization of the double bond takes place. That means this double bond moves. Then after the isomerization of the double bond, this intermediate will react with zinc in acetic acid so that it will get converted into cephalosporin. zinc in acetic acid will act as a deprotecting agent so that all this protective group will be lost and I get an NH2 and a carboxylic group, so that I will be getting a cephalosporin. So this is the brief synthesis of cephalosporin. Let us go through an overview of this cephalosporin. In the overview, the starting material is cysteine, gets cyclized so that we get a acetylation product and there is a cyclized product. Nitrogen is protected by N-Boc. Further, carboxylic acid reacts with diazomethane to give an ester. This ester reacts with DMAD to give me a DMAD adduct. This adduct reacts with lead tetraacetate in the presence of sodium acetate so that the DMAD system is lost and it is converted to OH. In the presence of isopropyl amine, methane sulfonyl chloride and NaN3, OH gets converted to N3. N3 gets reduced in the presence of aluminium and mercury to NH2. Next, aluminium isobutoxide in toluene will react to give me a azobicyclo derivative. Further, this will react with two compounds, that is, one is 2-acetyl-butyl-2-enol and 2-methynyl carbonyl oxytrichloroethyl 1,3 dialdehyde, that is TCE, to give an adduct. This adduct reacts with trifluoroacetic acid to give a cephalosporic acid. Cephalosporic acid reacts with 2-substituted hexane amide in the presence of DCC, TCE, that is beta-beta-beta trichloromethyl ester, to give a intermediate in which this 4-membered ring is finally protected by the long chain system. What happens in this particular step is, now onto this 4-membered ring, this long chain gets introduced along with the protection. Further, this long chain, after being introduced onto the 4-membered ring, there is a presence of an aldehyde. Boron in the presence of THF converts this aldehyde into CH2OH. Further, in the presence of acetic anhydride and pyridine, it gets converted to CH2OAC. Once this intermediate is formed, now it is allowed to stand for 3 days in pyridine and isomerization of the double bond takes place. Once the isomerization is completed, then there is a deprotection. There is a system for deprotection now. It can be done with the help of zinc in acetic acid. All the compounds will be deprotected and we will be getting an NH2. We will be getting a free carboxylic acid at this position and this position to yield a cephalosporin C. Thank you.